viewers, and welcome to another segment of Possibilities with Esther. As you all know, Possibilities with Esther is a motivational program specially designed to channel your mindset into possibilities of life. And for today, we have a special guest. But before then, for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, please make sure you don't go anywhere, okay? Don't go anywhere, because this is a program you don't want to miss. This is a program you would want to watch every day on your TV. And for those who are willing to watch our previous program, can always go on our YouTube channel and also on Instagram page to follow us for more details. And today, as usual, sometimes I have a guest, sometimes I have a topic, and we discuss and we eat up the mindset of our guest, and we eat up everything that is inside that tries to hinder us from becoming who we want to be, and just throw it in the trash. And for today, we have a genius in the studio. Wait a minute, let me give you a brief history, a brief background about him. He is by the name Mohammed Musa Cengiz, was born in Kano State, Nigeria. His mother Nigerian and his father a Turkish man. Now you can see two nationality, which is this studio and also back at home in Africa. Cengiz, who is also known as Mustafa, is from a family of 9 and raised by his mother, and he graduated from Kazan State University. Not just Kazan State University, but a medical university in Russia. Apart from just graduating, he didn't just graduated and took his certificate and went back home. No, he came out as one of the best, rather the best medical student from Russia. Do you know what that means? Russia is not a place to just go inside. You know, Africa will have the heat and all that. Russia is like very cold. In Turkey, the weather is so cold, so you can imagine how Russia is. But before I say too much, I welcome our Mr. Handsome Mustafa in the studio. Nice to have you, Mr. Mustafa.
Thank you so much, Esther. I'm very glad to be here.
Yeah.
I'm very humbled also to be here. The first thing I would like to say is that with your positive energy and the way you have presented, I think nothing left unsaid. I see how we proceed from there.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really, really happy to have you here, because you have a lot of stories to share. And I feel so proud to know friends like you going through and achieving such kind of a success in your life. But apart from an awarded best medical student from Russia, can you tell us about Mustafa?
So thank you very much.
Yeah.
First, I would like to address, my name is Mustafa Cengiz, which is a bit difficult for maybe some of the people back home to pronounce.
Yeah, I think it was difficult for me to say.
Yes, I noticed that initially.
Right?
Yeah, well, you did well.
Thank you.
So like you already stated before, my mom is Nigerian, my dad is Turkish. I was born in Kano State of Nigeria in the year 1991. I finished my primary education and secondary education there before I proceeded abroad. One thing also that I wanted to state was I actually spent about 2 years in Turkey before I began studying at the Kazan State Medical University. After that, after I graduated in 2017, I moved here to Turkey, and basically life has been going on from there.
So great. I'm wondering why Russia? Did you have the interest from the start that, you know, some people just have it in their mind that after primary, secondary school, they're going to the US, UK. Why Russia?
Well, let me be candid. Let me be frank about it. When I was in Turkey back in 2010, 2011, just before I started my university, I sent a couple of applications to a bunch of countries, which included Russia, some countries in parts of Europe. But because I had a deadline in which the university session was about to start at that time, and one of the first to reply was Russia, though it was in the top of my list. Why? Because I wanted to be secluded. I don't know, since I was a child, I always wanted to be in a faraway region so that I'll be able to feel how it is to be like cornered.
Experience another culture and all that. Yeah.
Exactly. So after they replied about my admission, I was able to, let's say, make up my mind, inform my family, because they had no idea I'd applied to Russia back then. And that's how I ended up there.
You got there. What I'm curious to know, you have experienced Nigeria, of course, Kano, and Turkey, which you came before you went to Russia. On going to Russia, what was the difference between being in Turkey as an African, more of African in you because you stayed longer in Nigeria than Turkey, right?
Yes.
And then going to this new environment with a total different language. How was the experience like?
Well, I've always loved challenges, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not in the way that you would think, somebody is trying to say, I like to face different type of problems in life. But no, I always thought that with enough pressure, that's when a gem is being produced, meaning like not to be too narcissistic about it, but the pressure makes me become more motivated to seek something, especially when I'm detached from my origin, my safe zone per se, or my comfort zone.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to do a particular task when I'm away from people that make me feel more comfortable. And I think I always had that in the back of my mind, and that's one of the reasons actually I decided to go somewhere like that. And the second reason, funnily, for those of us who grew up in Kano or northern Nigeria in general, we know how hot it gets.
Yeah,
and I don't know, a part of me probably wanted to run somewhere cold. Unfortunately, I ran to one of the coldest parts of the world.
Say unfortunately. Why is unfortunately?
I'll get into it when we talk about the weather, but I'm sure most people know that Russia is not an easy task.
Crazy.
Yes.
Like, how can you compare in the rate of 20 with Ankara? You know, Ankara is one of the coldest cities in Turkey.
Yes.
How do you rate Ankara and Russia with your experience?
Well, when I first came to Ankara in 2017, that's after I graduated from Russia, I actually found the cold here minus 10, minus 20, a bit mediocre, because it used to get up to minus 35, 40 in the city I was in. So, but now that I've actually acclimatized in Ankara, I'm starting to feel the cold. So it's all about adaptation. Well, the human body always processes the environment and adapts according to that. And getting back to your question, where you asked me about what is the difference between life in Turkey, life in Russia, and in Nigeria, the thing about it is, what I would like to point out is in any region or part of the world that you go to, one thing in common is that we're all human beings, and all human beings have the same character, the same goals, maybe a little bit different in mentality and background, but we can say the center or the general basic human character is all the same. So you are good to someone and they are good back to you. And if they are not good back to you, just change the direction and look somewhere else. In general, we are all humans at the end of the day. That's what I'll say. The difference, fundamental difference between the countries is just, I would say, the food, the color of the people you walk out and see on the street, and then the weather. Apart from that, everything is the same. Yeah,
I can imagine. Talking about background, you were like 9 and you were raised by your mom.
Yes.
I would like to focus on you. Would you say you were born out of a silver spoon? Because some people will say, for him to go to Turkey and go to Russia, study medicals, it means they have so much money. That's why he's this successful.
Yes.
So what can you say about that?
So yeah, I actually got some responses because some of my achievements were actually broadcasted in newspapers and some news channels, and a lot of people had the thought that I was born with a silver spoon, and I don't want to completely deny the fact, but when I was 9, my dad passed away, and for those of us that grew up in the northern part of, thank you very much, northern part of Nigeria, we know how difficult it is for a single woman to raise, 5 of us, 5 kids, and give them all the necessary education and background they need in order to be able to achieve what they want to achieve in life. So I would say that I fluctuated in between the silver spoons. But I look at each experience that I get, whether it is from a privileged background or without it, both of them have their own silver lining here, I would say. No pun intended. The silver lining I would want everybody to pay attention to is that no matter what situation you grow up in, whether in a good background or a privileged background or not, you just have to focus on what is important, which is to be able to get what you can from this life. So being able to see both sides of the spectrum, meaning from the privileged side and not so privileged side, you get to experience both worlds and use that to your own advantage.
That's awesome. Is your mom, if I ask this, is your mom in Nigeria or is she still alive?
Well, she's in Nigeria because we try to bring...
Because of that, I just want to make sure she's there so that when she watched this program, I just want to tell her, well done, because I am a single mother. I have a child. I know how difficult it is. So for her to raise these 5 children, out of the 5 children, to bring out one of the best in diaspora is a huge award for her. So from Esther here to her is a big heart for her.
Thank you very much.
When I ask, what about when every child has a dream. Some children are forced to create a dream from their parents. For medical, you created that career for yourself, or it was created by someone to you?
Well, to think about it, I would say it's a combination of both here. What do I mean by that? Obviously, in Africa, we tend to want to give birth to overachievers, meaning since we were kids, we hear our parents trying to tell us, like, you grow up to be a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, etc. And probably that is in the back of our mind. And I met a lot of this type of people when I was studying in the medical university, whereby their parents urged them to become this, even without their own desires. And for me, personally, I would say that I obviously had it in the back of my mind. And funnily, I had a story of a family doctor that used to visit us. And he has passed away now, but rest his soul. And he used to come home and inject us with the vaccines and immunizations back then. And I used to be so angry because I used to be very afraid of injections. And whenever
now
he
you're injecting everybody.
Exactly.
Happily injecting.
So actually, after that, I told him I would grow up and become a doctor. And by that time, he would be old. And I would be the one revenging with the injection. But unfortunately, he passed away. And I would say that...
Go inject his children, his grandchildren.
Rest his soul. I'm sure I'll reach out to them someday, inshallah.
Oh, wow. That's a very amazing story. What is your definition of success?
You know, this is a very difficult question because success is something that we can say is rated according to an individual. For me, success is being able to feel like you have no regrets from all the things you have done in the past, meaning you left no stone unturned, in the sense that, for example, I always wanted to become a doctor. Eventually, I did become that. I might have had a lot of bad experiences or difficulties during my transition to become a doctor, but to be able to sit down and look at how much I've achieved, no matter how little it is, because we have millions of doctors around the world, but to be able to say, I did this for myself. So even if it's a next step about something I want to achieve, as long as I can look back and say I have no regrets in whatever I do, I consider that as a success. That's in part of the mentality point of view. In terms of the physical point of view about it, I would say to be able to grow as a person that will be able to reach out to as much people, to touch as much people's lives, even if it is 1, 2, or 3 that I will be able to treat during my lifetime. I would say it's an achievement, a success story for me, because changing one person's life, in Islam we say, is like saving a person's life, is like saving the whole of humanity.
Wow. When you were announced, when you were awarded as the best medical student in your university, did you see that coming? Maybe you worked so hard, so you were expecting, they have to give me this, or you did your best, but it came as a shock for you?
Well, it was a close call, but obviously we knew after our 3rd, 4th year, because the university already has a standardized program in which when you achieve this amount of marks, you'll be awarded with the GPA, which I did achieve. So I did know that we're heading towards that, but at that particular moment, I didn't look at it as something big. I looked at it as just a competition with our own peers, a good type of competition, because that's the best actually motivation to study. Some of our classmates, just my immediate classmates that also tried to achieve that, which I got the privilege to do that, were just competing within ourselves, and we're very good friends. So there was no any rivalry. Everybody eventually was happy at the end of the day that we were all able to reach this pinnacle.
Wow, I can. But how do you feel when you see? I mean, I was going through your story, and it's not just one TV station, like the newspaper. They contacted you, the polls, Nigeria. Were you just receiving calls, and how did it get so fast out like that?
When it first went out, I was also shocked because I believe maybe someone from our school actually sent it to a blog back in Nigeria, and that's how it got, it spread everywhere. And I would say at the end of the day, it got more publicity than it deserved. I believe it was because of probably how I look or something like that. I'm pointing this out specifically because I believe there's other people that have achieved more than me, even at that specific period, but they didn't get as much publicity as I did. So I would say people should actually look at a person due to his the content of his or her character rather than their outlook, even though unfortunately we live in a socialized world with social media and stuff. So this is why I didn't really use a lot of that. I didn't ride the wave, I would say, of that whole hype at that time. I just tried to just focus on what I was doing because I knew part of it was a bit biased due to how I look. Because you're half caste and
Yes. But I think another part of it, like for me, what triggered that, the fact that you're a Nigerian in diaspora, and there was more of you in Nigeria.
Yes.
Being a Nigerian, an Africa, actually, not even about the country, being an Africa in a country that has a different language, then studying there, it's a very huge challenge. That's and true. Couple the fact that before, now things are even much easier. I know, for example, in Turkey, 10 years ago when I was here, there were very few Africans. So which makes communication so difficult. Now you can imagine studying in Turkish without Africans, without people, it makes it so difficult. But really, I must say your story inspired me a lot. It inspires me a lot. And we will be going on a second, on our commercial break, and we'll be right back. For our viewers, please don't go anywhere. This is on our second segment. But before we go there, I want you to go take your drink or take a cup of water with this thought in your mind that whatever situation you go through, the harder it is, the more you should make it. It should not be a hindrance. It should not be a setback for you to not make it. So as we go on break, on our commercial break, keep it in your mind, as we will come back to talk more about Mr. Mustafa's mindset. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to the second segment of Possibilities with Esther. And so far we have a special guest who is a Nigerian and also a Turk. Apart from that, he's an awarded medical student 2017 in Russia. So far, you can call him Dr. Mustafa. And so far, he has been telling us his journey so far from Nigeria, from Turkey, from Russia, his mindset towards his achievements, the excitement, and also why people should look at the aspect of someone's effort than other aspects of wherever that person is coming from. And on this second segment, we'll be talking about the challenges, which is the most important thing in our journey. We have lots of journeys in our life trying to achieve this, trying to achieve that. But the problem is, how do we overcome it? What kind of mindset do we have towards this thing we're trying to achieve? So stay tuned, don't go anywhere, because Mr. Mustafa is going to tell us how was your journey, how was the major challenge, and how did you overcome it?
Okay, so they say each metal, the strength of each metal is determined by the amount of fire it went through and pressure it went to. And I believe the background I had, or the foundation I had back in Nigeria, carved me into the person I became today. We grew up in the rural part of Kano in the, let's say, mid-90s, early 2000s. And unfortunately, at that time, we didn't have much electricity, water, and other supplies, basic human amenities that others enjoy. I say unfortunately, but after I grew up, I can say fortunately now, because that pushes you. That pushes you to want to leave that environment. So you grow up in a place whereby Sometimes it's difficult to feed. Sometimes it's difficult to clothe yourselves. You see people of the same age group as you in all over parts of the world, and they have all the things that you wish to have, but you couldn't get it. And that makes you want to leave that environment. That makes you want to achieve something, to be able to change the lives of those that are having the same situation as you around. Because it wasn't just me. It wasn't just the neighbors. It was the whole area, the whole community. Especially the person I wanted to change the life of the most was my mother. I wanted to make her proud and show her that all the things or all the sacrifices she has made to the level I have reached was not in vain. That's the one person that actually mattered to me, that I wanted to, even though she never ever put any pressure on me about my studies or how things were going. She just believed inside that everything was going to be okay. You know, moms have this kind of thing whereby they have they look at their child and they know that they can trust this person is not going to do anything to break their heart.
Sure.
So basically, that's my mom, and she was a very strong woman. She actually had a school, primary school in Kano, which was famous back then. It had over 40 to 60,000 graduates at the end of before she eventually closed it. And she has always been a woman who dives in head first. Don't allow anything to weigh you down in life. And she's my biggest mentor. She always made me believe that I was able to achieve whatever I wanted to achieve while keeping myself humble. Never ever look at yourself more important than the next person. You should just know that your opportunities or your own star was the one that was shining at that specific moment. Always put yourself in the shoes of others. Have empathy towards their own feelings. Share their feelings, and you'll be able to connect with people more. This took me a long way from the place I was to where I am today.
Wow, that's very huge. Again, well done to Mom. What's your greatest fear in life?
I think it's connected to the last question. My greatest fear back then was not being able to achieve the things that will be able to please my mother. I felt was my greatest fear.
Not being able to make her feel proud of you.
Yes.
Do you think you actually made her proud?
Well, I feel I did, but I don't think anything is going to ever be enough to even weigh a little of what she did or what other mothers do for their children. We can just try. We can try to reach, but we'll never get to any feat towards what we can do to help them. So we can just do what we can. Yeah,
we can't pay them back, actually. No. We can only try our best.
Yeah, and I've made my peace with that. I just know that we just have to be
best we can.
Yeah, best we can towards them in the character, help them out the same way they helped us out.
Yeah. From your experience, from the way you explain about your mom and all that, it's very, very passionate. And it also shows that you had a very good connection with her.
Yes.
And for you to leave that comfort zone to go out there, what was the major sacrifice you had to do?
Well, yes, towards the whole time that I have been away from my family in general, of course, I've always felt a longing towards them. And when I was in the middle of Russia, Kazan is in the center part of Russia, there was a lot of people that came from different regions in Russia, but we didn't have much Nigerians. So I didn't even have someone that spoke my own mother tongue, which is Hausa.
Hausa, yeah.
I couldn't find anyone that I could be able to
some people not know you speak Hausa.
Yeah, I do actually. Okay. No, I do speak Hausa. I actually have a mini program in Hausa whereby I explain some of the diseases in the basic language, so that even people in the rural parts of Nigeria and other parts of can be able to communicate.
I can imagine you saying, and I mean, medical terms are very, very hard.
Yeah.
Now, how do you translate it in Hausa? I have to look for that content to watch it.
Well, you can check it out on my Instagram page eventually, but what I do before I prepare a show, I actually go in communication with some people that I know are very deep in Hausa and share the words that I wasn't able to translate before the show. It's actually very interesting that we have a lot of words that I didn't even know existed in Hausa that you can use for medical terms.
So in other words, the sacrifice you had was to make sure you detach yourself and live in your comfort zone to go and achieve whatever thing you might set out for.
Getting back to that, like I said, I always felt a longing for them, but at the end of the day, we were brought up to be more independent. to go into the world. The world is, as they say, the world is the oyster, right? In which we have to experience every part of it. And we know eventually we have to gather all the information we can from other parts of the world and bring it back to where we are. So I never felt like I was really away, especially with the telecommunications we have now, where you can just see anybody from any parts of the world. Of course, it's not as the same as seeing someone physically, but it helped a lot. I always felt like I was a free bird, meaning I had to just fly away, go around the world, and come back eventually. Yeah, so it never really bothered me mentally, saying that I was far away from home.
So you in medicine, it's very large. What aspect, which area are you?
Well, right now I just finished my equivalency in Turkey, and I will start my residency, and I wanted to choose cardiothoracic surgery, which has to do with surgery in the heart and other vascular systems in the body.
My heart.
Let's hope it doesn't get to that. You're going to have a healthy, sound life, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah, Now, so what's your life, what's your philosophy of life? You have said a lot.
Yes.
And your mindset, you strongly believe the world is big enough. And you have this very positive energy, very positive belief about life. The harder it is, the better, the more you should push. So in general, when you let me rephrase the question and say the word possibilities connecting to the way you see life. How do you define possibilities?
Okay.
In your life?
To state my own philosophy, especially to reach out to those who are viewing here outside today, I would say the place or the background we had should not be a restriction to what we can achieve. Any person that you see on TV, even me that you're looking at now on TV, I was that person that was watching and thinking, wow, people on TV don't really exist, or are they like so far away from us that we cannot reach them? But we should not be restricted by our own beliefs, our own background. We should always know that the next person doesn't have two heads. Okay? We're all created equal. We just have to tap our potential, believe in ourselves, and have confidence.
Oh, that's wonderful. The pandemic has affected a whole lot of aspects in our lives.
Yes.
The way things were done before is totally different from now. As a medical student or as a doctor, practitioner, how do you bring in creativity into the medical world?
Yes. So creativity itself is a very interesting topic for me. I believe any person can become a doctor, but not much doctors can become creative. So we have a lot of instruments, a lot of equipments, a lot of machines that are created in collaboration with doctors to be able to touch the lives of many. Yeah. And in order to make medicine more creative, we should look at medicine itself as a subject in which we have to simplify and make it reachable for others. Technology has really improved in ways that we can do that currently. We have some projects that we are doing back home whereby we can make, let's say, online type of, how do I put it, consultation for those who need that consultation and are too far away from general practitioners or internal medicine in different branches. So, for example, that kind of creativity brought into the medical sector will go a long way. Everybody has a phone now. Not everybody. People that have phones, some of them don't even have like reachability to medical care. Yeah. But we want to bring the medical care into the people's phones, so that we can have face-to-face at least consultation to as much people as we can.
Wow, that's great.
Just a part of like the creativity.
Yeah.
If I understood the
you said it perfectly for students that are just inspiring medical students. What is your advice to them?
So I will use my own experience, because I'm sure everybody has his or her own different one. But from what I could gather during my years of medicine, which is actually, I can also center that on the cold I had in Russia. The cold actually prevented me from going out. I wasn't going out much or socializing. I was stuck at home, and when you finish watching everything and listening to everything, you eventually find the book interesting. I became very close friends with textbooks, medicine itself because I had this passion towards it initially.
Yeah.
But if I would go back and tell myself something before, I would say that no matter how difficult it is, never find a shortcut because eventually it will catch up to you. Okay? Make sure, don't think about the time you're going to waste or you're going to repeat a course or people younger than you have graduated. No. Just know that the quality of the education itself, of the knowledge you will gather, is more important than the time spent. Even if it takes you 20 years to graduate medicine, if you do it right and fill out all the discrepancies you have, it will take you a long way. Even if you have 1 or 2 years left to just practice medicine, you'll practice it with the utmost happiness because you have all the foundations you need.
And you also have the passion for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You made mention that you had a page and you usually talk to people, advise them on some diseases.
Yes.
If this program should be that program, what is one topic or one thing you can just advise our viewers shortly to learn about it or to prevent it in a very short form?
Very good. Very good. That was actually the whole mindset I have when I was actually creating the show. I realized when I first came to the medical university, there's a lot of things that we didn't know that the basic citizen of Russia actually on the street that is not a medical student knew, like all the organs in the body and their functions, even if it is from basic biology. And I found out that we lack a lot of that in the place which I grew up. And this is why when I started my program, I started from even the organs themselves, what they are called, and how they function in the body, in the language, because we tend to ignore the languages of the people or think that everybody would be able to speak the language that we are passing that message. So I wanted to reach out to those people that nobody has actually taken that information or knowledge to them. So I would tell each person, I would advise each person to at least learn the basic functions, the physiology of the body, which is the way the body works. It's not that difficult. You can do that in 3-4 pages. Just the basic information.
The basic information,
Yes.
because they said the mind is like the engine or whatever thing, but whatever engine is a house. So if you don't protect the engine in a very good environment, definitely that engine might get infected and all those things, and then it's most connect. Like for possibilities is the mind. Yours you focus on the physical. People forget about just read, be motivated, your mind, and then they forget to take care of themselves physically in terms of exercise. If I should understand that.
Yes. And your analogy is actually very good because we look at the body as a system. What type of system it is? It's just like the same system we have in the community, in the city we're living. So we have the head, we have the power plants, we have the even the garbage men, and etc. So that's how the body works. It works in tandem, in cooperation with each other, and functions in that way. Us as doctors, those that are in the medical field, we have this kind of belief that since we know what's going on in our body, it's very difficult for us to fall sick. But that's actually a wrong mindset because nobody is immortal, we can say. Nobody is stronger than the system, the human system. I would say always remember, take your time to take care of your body. Every part of your body deserves special, tender care. Just take care of it as just imagine it as something that was given to you on rent and you have to take it back someday eventually.
Yeah, that's a very powerful one. You have come to NTR TV.
Yes.
You've seen how it is. It's one of the television stations that broadcasts only in Africa. What is your advice or what can you say about NTR TV to our viewers?
Well, if you are the face of NTR TV, I would say that it's a really warm place. How you received me and how you have expressed yourself towards me, I would say it's top notch. I would also point out that for many years to come, this is just the beginning of NRTV. Like it has been on for a few years, and we are actually considered, or you guys are considered the pioneers of this project. Many years to come, things might change. It will grow bigger, and they will always look back to this starting points as you guys as the foundation in which built something. It's just like a tree, a root that will reach places. We have no idea how many years later people will be watching this program or something of that nature, but we should know that, or you all should know that you have left a thumbprint, a signature of something special. Reaching out to Africa from this part of the world is unprecedented, and eventually I know it will grow into something very big.
Inshallah, inshallah. Amen, amen. Your last word as the end of the program. Your last word to our viewers.
Word or sentence?
You can say anything.
Well, to all the viewers out there, I would like to say, always compare yourself with someone below you when it comes to worldly stuff, when it comes to riches and the likes of it. And you'll be humbled. You will know how much or how far you have come, because there's always someone below you. When it comes to knowledge, education, and faith, always look to people above you, and you'll be inspired and try to become like them.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Mustafa.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And next time,
it.
I hope to have you so that we can talk about on a particular disease. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Viewers, I hope you have learned something from this great mindset just the way I did. Like, I feel like we should just go on and on and on and on. I'm already feeling very, very energetic. I feel like he just gave me a treatment from the hospital. Trust you me, he's going to be a best, very good doctor, because he has humility, he's humble, he understands where he came from, where he's heading to, and he understands that no matter the position you are, that is not the end. Someone is always better. So just be humble, okay? Just be humble. And as we said again, whatever situation you're going through, do not let it limit your belief. Do not blame the society. Do not blame the government. Do not blame your family. Do not blame anything around you. It's you. It starts with you. Your mind, your body, the way you take care of your mindset, the way you take care of your body determines a lot where you are heading to. So, please stay tuned on Possibilities with Esther. Keep your mindset straight and think possible, okay? See you again next time. And don't forget to follow us on our Instagram page. And also check us on YouTube channel. There's a number on your screen. If you have any message, if you have any story you want to share on Possibilities with Esther, please go ahead and leave us a message. I am very sure I will get it and we will be back to you. Stay tuned and have a wonderful day.